In this video, we are continuing the series where we talk about what kind of armor we would be wearing. I did it in the context of we're riding like perhaps on a campaign or something like this. In fact, in reality, we would have all our armor. Um, we would have people with us, like the baggage train of people that would be carts or horses that would be carrying luggage and gear, um, all our stuff, your tent, your camp, your armor, your other clothing, all that would be packed away and coming along with us. But what would I have with me on my horse? And that's the context I interpret this as, and what I would be wearing while we're doing that. So if daily riding, which is different than we're riding off to war. So, what would I just wear as kind of like a minimal protection type of thing in an everyday scenario that I would feel comfortable? If something happened, all right, here we go. This is like kind of my go to type of stuff. By default, maybe my base layer would be like a pair of pants, a shirt, and a light caftan. I'd have boots on. We'll start from the bottom and go up. How about that? Um, Boots. So here are, or here's one of my boots. Um, just general leather boots that are typical of the time period. My time period that my armor and everything is based on is the end of the 15th century, which would be like 1490 in that era. I wouldn't wear like greaves, which go around your shin, and I wouldn't wear foot armor as well, normally in this context. But I would wear knee armor and thigh armor. So here we have that. And I have them tied onto, I have like padded short pants that I wear that these are point tied to. So I have them on here so you can see. This bit of armor you don't see often because everything else is on top of it for my kit, so you don't really see my legs too often. Um, but this is what they look like. So they're point tied on, and you have knee protection and then like thigh protection here. Uh, I'm comfortable with this. Generally, if I have to fight someone, you're not getting hit in the shin or the foot. In a general context, yes, of course you can, but generally, if I want to maintain like a light type of, this is it, that's what I would wear. On top of that, like for my upper body, then I would wear by default mail. So here's a mail jacket. This is like 20 pounds here, so it is a little bit heavy, but it is extremely protective. And something you might notice is that it kind of closes in the front. And if you're used to seeing European stuff, their mail kind of pulls over like a shirt. So here we have this style that like closes in the front. And it's interesting because um, a lot of the garments that people wear close in the front. So it's neat to think that that translated into the armor itself, as opposed to like having shirts that pull over. A lot of garments and in like Persia and Turkey and into like um, India, that whole Western Asian region, are like jackets and coats. So that's a bit of interestingness. On top of that, I would likely be wearing my krug, which is the armor that goes on top of that. And here, I'll show you that. Here's the back piece of it. So this is the back piece, including the shoulders. So just to clarify some things here, um, a misnomer when people see this, think that this piece goes like this, like it's like a pauldron and covers this. but it actually doesn't. It covers behind here. So you can see the buckles are on the top. Like this runs along, like, see where your shirt hem is, or the seam is here. That would be that. So if that's there, you see how this is actually behind your shoulder, not like this on top of it. So this protects your whole back of your arm and everything when it's like that. So that's that piece. And this is simply the front piece of it. So it's kind of identical. When that's on, the mail is like exposed here. Uh, Most of the time, you don't see any kind of protection there, or if there was, it's like integrated into the mail. Like there's plates in this part here. Um, but I do have these. I have pauldrons that cover this. Any rules of fighting require you to have some sort of like armor here, and it is more protective. But if we're going into like historical um, combat or historical reenactment, generally there wasn't anything there. Um, but I do have these made that like fit this gap here, and then it gives me some protection on my upper arm too. So I would wear these mainly because they look cool, and um, that's would be the reason I would always wear them, and they're kind of like a signifying of rank per se. For my head, I wouldn't wear a helmet. If I'm riding, the helmet is way over protection for just riding around on your horse. I would likely just have some sort of head wrap on like this, or if I would wear something light, it would be this type of helmet, which is just a mail and plate type of light protection that I can just put on and wear around. And it has like an open face. One thing that came up not too long ago that I was thinking about is if you look at helmets from the region, a lot of them are open face helms. Most of them are. You do see helmets that have like a mask or some sort of face protection. If we take into culture of fighting and how people fought and what they were thinking, yeah, in a life or death situation, you might throw all rules of fighting out, but there is embedded into the culture is that you don't like hit someone or like ruin their face. So perhaps a lot of the helmets were open faced with the context of the culture in mind, that you don't really need face protection because an honorable person wouldn't like cut up your face. Yeah, so there's that. I don't really know why, but why it is, and I'm not saying that's historically true, but it is an interesting thing, and it's a very well known like um, idea in the region. So that would be kind of all the armor. Oh, I would have a shield too. Normally, you see I have small shields, but in this case, I would have a larger shield, just because if it does offer the most protection, and in the scenario that we described, if I'm riding and just need something, I would have like a larger shield like this size. This size, the way it's strapped to, um, if I held it this way, I can use my bow, which I would also have, which we're going to go to next. So I would carry this shield. If I'm wearing like lighter armor and stuff as well, this shield offers more protection, and I can fight and like cover spots of my armor or what I need to be with a larger shield. If I'm wearing all the armor I have and everything, I'm extremely well protected, and I can drop down to the smaller shields because then um, I'm not going to really get hit or get, it's harder to like cause damage if you're wearing a whole lot of armor. So having the smaller shield and the way we fight comes into play in that context as well. I think I forgot to mention the bazoo bounds. So I would have bazoo bounds on too. Here's one of them. So this is a Turkish style. How these work is they go on your arm this way, like this. So you can see like this piece meets up to where the fold of your arm is here when you come out like this. And you might say like, well, this is opened here, but it the armor is kind of reflective on the style of fighting and how you fight. So um, it would be locked on your arm this way. So you can see it's still protective. This piece here protects the point of your elbow. Um, and if I'm facing you this way, um, it's protective. You would have to kind of get behind me, or if I made an error of some sort and exposed like the back of my elbow for it to be shot or hit. What I mean? That comes into play too. Like that's something we talk about a lot. Kind of the armor dictates the style of fighting, and you can learn a lot about how people fought based on the way the armor is designed. Um, you're not going to have super heavy armor when the culture of fighting is horses, archery, fast moving types of fighting, as opposed to just like tanking up and like marching in. Yeah, we have heavy armor, and if I put all my armor on, it's heavy. All these things come into play as well. So, like I said, I would have a bow also. Here's a bow. I would have that. Um, just to show I brought my quiver and arrows, so you can see this. Then what kind of other weapons would I have? I likely wouldn't have a a lance or something like that, or a spear, but I would have a sword. In fact, I would carry two swords. So I would have one. There's two swords. I would have one on me and one on the horse. So if I was to dismount off the horse or something like that, I would be able to still get a horse. Or perhaps more likely, I would have these two swords on the horse, one on each side, and then on me, I would have like this, like a shorter sword. This is a kame. Um, that can be on me while I'm riding, whereas the other two swords, the shamshir, are on the horses, or on my horse, if I was to dismount and need to get it. And the theory, uh, one on each side of the horse, is so that no matter where you are around your horse, you can grab a sword and go. And also, I'd have a little khanjar too. So now that I'm thinking about it, likely I would be wearing these two things all the time, on me, and then having the swords like mounted on the horse. Like I said, if I needed them, I can just draw one, grab one, and go. So I think that's everything. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good day.